Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1, Cheryl Elston. We warmly welcome the family of Private William Francis Cullen, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Club Association. We welcome members who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you. If you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private William Francis Cullen. William Cullen was born in Sydney in 1895 to Thomas and Martha Cullen. His father had been born in Ireland, emigrating to Australia in 1875. Thomas went on to find employment in Sydney as a labourer and married Martha Putney in 1893 before beginning a family that would grow to 8 children. After serving 18 months with the senior cadets, in 1911 William became an apprentice in the boot trade. When war broke out 3 years later, William was a 19-year-old bread carter and single, living with his parents in Leichhardt. William may have been keen to enlist right away, but at 5 foot 2 inches, he was under the minimum height required. The following year, however, the press for more volunteers saw the minimum height dropped. William enlisted on the 25th of February 1916 and was soon sent to Bathurst, where he joined reinforcements for the 53rd Battalion. He embarked from Sydney on the 23rd of June 1916 on board the troop ship Bararama. During the 8-week voyage, William was sick with the flu and was fined 2 days' pay for using insubordinate language when speaking to an officer. Arriving in England in August, William and his comrades underwent further training. At this point, his younger brother Thomas joined him. They were sent to France in mid-November and joined the 53rd Battalion on the Somme. Known as the Whale Oil Guards because of the polish applied to their helmets, the 53rd Battalion had formed in Egypt in February before becoming battle-hardened at Fromelles and on the Somme. Through the long, cold winter of 1916 and 1917, William served alongside his comrades. Before long, he fell ill with trench foot, which put him out of action for a few months. Rejoining his unit in March 1917, he advanced on the Hindenburg Line in May, where in May, the bloody Second Battle of Bullecourt was fought. Later that year, the 53rd Battalion was sent to Ypres sector in Belgium. William endured another battle at Polygon Wood in September before an impossible slog through the mud at Passchendaele. In the spring of 1918, the Germans launched their spring offensive. Rushed back to the Somme, the Australians made a stand at Villa Brentenau, where William was gassed on the 17th of April 1918. After a recovery in England, he returned to the battalion on the 2nd of August. 6 days later, the Australian Corps struck a blow at Amiens, forcing the Germans into a headlong retreat. In the weeks that followed, it drove the enemy back along the Somme, and at the end of August made a stand at Mont-Saint-Quentin and Péronne. Before dawn on the 1st of September, the 53rd Battalion moved into position northwest of Péronne. In drizzling rain, it attacked, but immediately encountered enemy troops and dense barbed wire. As another unit broke into the moated town, the 53rd battled to seize Anvil Wood. It advanced into a cemetery, but was pinned down by intense enemy fire from 3 sides. Late in the afternoon, the men were ordered forward once more, but again, enemy fire stopped them cold. The 53rd Battalion suffered nearly 60% casualties, with 252 men hit, including 51 killed. Younger brother Thomas was wounded in the leg, but survived the war. On the 2nd of September, the 53rd Battalion held its position while other units advanced, clearing Péronne of enemy troops. A photo taken on the day shows 5 Australian soldiers in the ruins of the town, 4 men of the 54th Battalion and William Cullen of the 53rd. He was likely there still the next day, despite his battalion having been relieved and pulled back to the western side of the river. On the 3rd of September, William suffered multiple shrapnel wounds to his chest, left arm and thigh. He was taken to the 15th Field Ambulance at Herbecourt, but was dead on arrival. His remains were buried at Herbecourt British Cemetery. He was 23 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private William Francis Cullen, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bain. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.